Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jaya Radha Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachare Yamunatira Vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jai Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai. Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Nitai. Nitai Ga Haribo, 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 Haribo. Nitai Ga Haribo, 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 Haribo. Jai Vishnupad Paramahans Perivrajik Charis Tatis Samad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jayam Vishnupad Paramahans Perivrajik Charis Tatis Samad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki, Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki, Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki, Go Premanande, all glories to the Desamu devotees, all glories to the Desamu devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jai Nityananda. Jai Advaita Chandra Jai Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Devotees, today is the most glorious and wonderful appearance day of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Sri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. And of course there's so many things that we can say, but let us begin by reading some verses from the beginning of Caitanya Charitamrita, in the first chapter of the Adi Leela, the first chapter of the Caitanya Charitamrita, First of all, there's a series of verses glorifying Lord Caitanya and establishing his position. Then, beginning with verse 7 of the first chapter of the Adi Lila, there are 5 verses glorifying Lord Nityananda and establishing his position, which is quite an amazing position, amazing and wonderful position. So let us begin by reading these 5 verses glorifying Lord Nityananda. So I'll read the Sanskrit for the first of these verses, verse 7, then I'll just read the translations. Sankarshana karana toya shai, garbo shai cha payabdi shai, sheshas chayas yangsa, kalasa nitya, nandakya rama, sharanam mamastu. May Sri Nityananda Ram be the object of my constant remembrance. Sankarshan, Sheshanag, and the Vishnus who lie on the Karana ocean, Garbha ocean, and ocean of milk are his plenary portions, and the portions of his plenary portions. In other words, Lord Nityananda is very great. He is greater than the great. Verse 8, I'll just read the translation. I surrender unto the lotus feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, who is known as Sankarshan, in the midst of the Chaturvyuha, consisting of Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. He possesses full opulences and resides in Vaikuntha Loka, far beyond the material creation. Verse 9, I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, whose partial representation, called Karana Dakshai Vishnu, lying on the Karana ocean, is the original Purusha, the master of the illusory energy and the shelter of all the universes. Translation, and verse 10, translation. I offer my full obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, a partial part of whom is Garbhodakshai Vishnu. From the navel of Garbhodakshai Vishnu sprouts the lotus that is the birthplace of Brahma, the engineer of the universe. The stem of that lotus is the resting place of the multitude of planets. Verse 11, I offer my respectful obeisances unto the feet of Sri Nityananda Ram, whose secondary part is the Vishnu lying in the ocean of milk. That Kshiradakshai Vishnu is the supersoul of all living entities and the maintainer of all the universes. Sheshanag is his further subpart. So this is giving us little insight into who Lord Nityananda is. Oftentimes when we think of Lord Nityananda, we think of his pastimes with Lord Caitanya, the deliverance of Jagai and Madai, the deliverance of the dacoit Brahmin, pastimes in the house of Advaita Acharya, just after Lord Caitanya took sannyas, and other such events. And of course they're very wonderful. They're very wonderful. And we'll mention a little here also about some. But we should not, you could say, underestimate Lord Nityananda. He is not just a colorful character who has these very stimulating and interesting pastimes. Although he has very stimulating and interesting pastimes. But Lord Nityananda, who he really is, he is very great. He's very, very great. Such a great and extremely powerful person that all these personalities, other personalities mentioned in these verses, they're just small parts of him. Sankarshan, Sheshanag, the three Vishnus, the three Purusha avatars, they're just little parts, plenary portions, and portions of his plenary portions. They're just little parts. But Lord Nityananda himself, he is very, very great. Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna, Nahe Anya, Balaram, Hoilo Nitai. He is actually Lord Balaram in person. So in one sense, to understand or begin to develop some understanding of Lord Nityananda, one has to understand Lord Balaram, because they're one and the same person, just in two different guises, you could say, perhaps. We won't go into the whole background there with Lord Balaram, but still, certain things we can bear in mind, like in terms of Lord Balaram's very intimate relationship, very personal relationship with Lord Krishna, Lord Balaram takes on different, very personal roles in the life of Lord Krishna. Lord Balaram is Lord Krishna's shoes. So he's always, or very regularly, getting the touch of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Lord Balaram is Lord Krishna's clothes. He's his seat for sitting in, his bed, his house, and all these different, many, many different things. But actually, Lord Nityananda plays the same roles with Lord Caitanya. He's also Lord Chaitanya's shoes and clothes and seat and residence and many other very personal things which are playing very intimate and personal roles in the life of Lord Caitanya. And ultimately, he is also the older brother, as Lord Balaram is the older brother of Lord Krishna and is therefore respectable to Lord Krishna and is looking after Lord Krishna. So Lord Nityananda, he's also the older brother, even though they appeared in different families, but still, that's the nature of the relationship, brotherly relationship. But Lord Nityananda is the older brother. There's a whole story which we won't go into of how Lord Balaram became the older brother. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Shri Giri Govardhan Shri Caitanya Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. So there's a whole story which is mentioned in the chapter of the Adi Leela of Caitanya Charitamrita, the chapter which is dealing with, explaining Lord Nityananda, how it is that Balaram ended up being the older brother, whereas previously he was Lakshman, the younger brother of Lord Ram. But in order to take care of his dear brother, so Balaram became the older brother. But then even when Balaram was the older brother, there were certain incidents, certain things that happened to Lord Krishna, dangerous things. And Lord Balaram was not able to really intervene as he wanted to look after his dear younger brother. So, when they appeared as Lord Caitanya and Lord Nityananda was really the older brother. He was really the older brother. He was at least 12 or 13 years older. So really in a senior position. And when they were together at least, he was always keeping an eye. We read how when Lord Caitanya was participating in the Rath Yatra festival and just going into a completely overwhelming state of transcendental ecstasy and just forgetting himself and any concerns for his physical well-being, Lord Nityananda was there, following behind him to catch him when he fell, because he would fall sometimes. So yes, it's a very interesting relationship, very deep relationship. And Lord Nityananda, he's very great, very, very great. Even people like Mahavishnu, Vishnu Mahansa Ihayasya Kala Vishesha. In Brahma Samhita it said how Mahavishnu is Kala. He's just a part of Lord Krishna. Here, Mahavishnu is also just a part of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda is a very, very special transcendental person and very respectable. He should be taken very seriously. But then again, we see the special pastimes which take place between him and Lord Caitanya. And there's a lot of informality. And Lord Nityananda sometimes appears to be, well, we wouldn't want to say eccentric, but just a very kind of extraordinary personality. And it comes out in many ways, how he dresses, how he uses jewelry and things like this. So anyway, there are very nice descriptions of the appearance of Lord Nityananda. In Caitanya Bhagavat, there's a nice description. Very nice description. In Bhakti Ratnakara also, there's a very beautiful description how Lord Nityananda appeared as the son of Hadai Oja and Padmavati in Ekachakra, which is in the area known as Radha Desh in what is now West Bengal. Radha Desh is that area of Bengal where the Ganges does not flow. So it's a drier area, you could say, a little bit drier area. But that place, Ekachakra, is a very wonderful place and just very, very beautiful place with all sorts of pastime places of Lord Nityananda. So Lord Nityananda appeared there as the son of Hadai Oja and Padmavati Devi on this day. And it should be, something like Lord Caitanya appeared in 1486 by our calculation. So Lord Nityananda appeared more or less, you could say, 1474, something like that. So it's more or less almost 550 years ago, maybe 548 years ago he appeared. And right from the outset, he was such an extraordinary, striking personality. When Lord Nityananda appeared and the village residents gathered, an interesting point is that Lord Nityananda is golden in color. Lord Caitanya, of course, he's Gauranga, Gaura Hari. He's also golden in color, and maybe even more golden in color, but Lord Nityananda is golden in color. So when Lord Nityananda appeared, the village people, they gathered and they're astonished. Some of the ladies were questioning, is this actually a child, or is this a doll made of golden butter? Effulgent golden butter. Another lady exclaimed she'd never seen a child like this who could cool both the eyes and the heart. And as he's just a little boy, his mother, Padmavati Devi, used to, in order to try to enhance his natural golden color, sometimes she would apply turmeric powder to his body, hoping to bring out that natural golden color more. But the turmeric seemed dull compared to Lord Nityananda's own natural golden color. his golden color enhanced and enriched the color of the turmeric powder. Sometimes, as is done, she would smear sandalwood oil and other scented oils at different times on baby Nitai's transcendental head to cool his head and to give some nice fragrance to his transcendental body. But she would find his body was cooler than the oil. His body would cool the oil, and the natural fragrance of his body would enhance the fragrance of the fragrant oil. So he quickly or immediately was accepted within the village as being the most wonderful child. Of course, there was quite a number of children in the village, but from the outset, Lord Nityananda was appreciated so much as being the most outstanding and beautiful and just transcendentally, mystically amazing child. So gradually, of course, he grew up bit by bit. When he reached the age of 10, some really, really amazing things happened, which are recorded, mentioned in Caitanya Charitamrita, just mentioned a little, but recorded in some detail in Caitanya Bhagavat. Really amazing pastimes that Lord Nityananda started having from the time he turned 10. From the time he turned 10, Lord Nityananda started arranging dramas with the other children of the village. And they were all Krishna-conscious dramas of Krishna's pastimes. When he appeared in Vrindavan 5,000 or so years ago, with his young friends, all the children of Ekachakra, they would build, for example, they did a drama of the appearance of Lord Krishna. They built a prison house out of like reeds and flax and these types of grasses and straw and so on. They built a prison. They built a prison. And then in the prison, in the drama, Lord Krishna appeared. Then, so every day they would hold a drama. And every day they would build some, whatever was the suitable type of background for the drama. After Krishna appeared, then they did a drama of Vasudeva taking Krishna across the Yamuna to Gokula, to be left with Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda. And in Ekachakra, there is still what they call the Yamuna River. It's not very big, but it's there. It's there. This body of water which winds through the village. So Vasudeva took baby Krishna across the Yamuna to Gokula. Then they enacted dramas of Krishna killing the demons, Putana, and generally Nityananda himself would play Krishna. Not always, but generally he would play Krishna. So Krishna kills Putana. Krishna kills Shakatasura. Krishna kills Trinavarta. Then they did a whole pastime over a few days of the Damodar Leela. Mother Yashoda chasing Krishna and then catching Krishna and tying Krishna. And then the next day, the deliverance of Nalakuvra Manigriva. And these dramas were just done in such amazing ways that gradually, first of all, just the children were involved. They would do the drama, but gradually the adults would see what was going on in different places around the village. The dramas would be going on day after day. So the adults would gather and they would watch the dramas. They wouldn't take part, they'd watch. Until it reached the point, everyday drama, it reached the point that when it was time for the day's drama, the village would stop. Everyone would stop. You know, it's an agricultural area, but all the farmers and the workers, they would stop and come into the village to watch the drama. Yeah. It was just really, really amazing. And, you know, like we said, they would make replicas of the pastime places. But those replicas, they were not just like some childish sort of thing. They were exact replicas of the pastime places, of the particular pastimes. Yeah. So the children, all the children, they would not leave Lord Nityananda even for a second. They were just with him all day and absorbed, completely absorbed in all these pastimes. So one day, Lord Nityananda as Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill. Another day he stole the clothes of the gopis. Another day he revealed himself to the wives of the Brahmins, the Yajna Patnis. One day, a boy, not Nityananda, dressed up as Narada, and Caitanya Bhagavat says, he dressed up as Narada with long hair and a beard. Narada Muni with a beard. And Narada came and gave advice to Kamsa. This is a pastime which is there in the 10th canto. Watch out, this Krishna, the 8th child, he's coming to get you. Yeah. So then another day, a boy dressed as a Krura and took Krishna and Balaram out of Vrindavan to Mathura. In that pastime, in that drama, Lord Nityananda took the role of a gopi and wept, cried and wept a river of tears as Krishna and Balaram left Vrindavan. So then the dramas became the Mathura pastimes. All the Mathura pastimes, meeting Kubja, killing Kuvalya Pida, and then wrestling with Chanura and Mushtika, and so on and so forth. You get the idea. It was just the most incredible thing. And Lord Nityananda in Mathura, Lord Nityananda took the role of Krishna, and one boy was dressed up as Kamsa, and Lord Nityananda grabbed Kamsa by the hair and just threw him to the ground. And that was goodbye, Kamsa. So immediately after killing Kamsa, Nityananda and the other boys danced and danced and danced. And all the village people were just completely enraptured, just smiling and laughing. So then Lord Nityananda enacted pastimes, dramas of pastimes of the different avatars. Vamana Dev, tricking Bali Maharaj, and then after a while they got into Ram Leela. So there's a very famous description of one drama they did of Ram Leela. During the battle, they reenacted the battle and all different events which occurred as the battle developed day by day. And one day, one boy was acting as Ravana, and he shouted to Lakshman, and Lord Nityananda was Lakshman, because he is Lakshman, that I am Ravan, and now I'll kill you with my Shakti Shila weapon. You try to protect yourself, Lakshman. So then the boy came and struck Lord Nityananda, Lakshman, with a lotus flower. And Lord Nityananda fell to the ground unconscious. So he really went into a state of unconsciousness. And he had told them that when this happens, get Hanuman to go to the Himalayas, to Gandhamadana mountain, and bring the, what's it called anyway? What's it called? Sanjeevani herb. and put it by my nose and I'll come back to consciousness. But until then, it won't be possible to bring me to consciousness. But when Lord Nityananda as Lakshman fell to the ground, having been struck by the Shakti Shila lotus flower, they forgot. And they're waiting for him to just get up and continue with the play. But he didn't wake up. So they forgot. And then they tried to wake him by, shaking him, speaking to him, shouting. But Nitai, Lakshman, would not wake. His parents, Hadayoja and Padmavati, were not there that day. They were at home. So a boy ran home and alerted Hadayoja and Padmavati. Something's wrong with Nitai. He's unconscious, we can't revive him. They came running. They tried to revive him. They couldn't revive him. And there's this whole panic situation there. Then one boy remembered that, wait a minute, don't you remember what Nitai said? That Hanuman should go to Gandhamadana mountain and bring Sanjeevani. So, Nitai had told them, when I fall to the ground, then gather around me and cry. But then, after a moment, send Hanuman. So then Hanuman, everyone realized, and Hanuman realized, oh yeah. And off went Hanuman somewhere. And he came back with the Sanjeevani herb. I mean, there's a whole adventure as Hanuman is going, as described in Ramayana. He meets different people on the way, and there's all different types of things happen. And eventually he comes back. The one Hanuman meets all sorts of people, but he meets one boy dressed as a Rakshasa who tries to eat him. And the Rakshasa says, you defeated the crocodile, because before one crocodile had come and Hanuman killed him. You defeated the crocodile. How will you defeat me? I will eat you. Then how will you save Lakshman's life? And Hanuman replied, your Ravana is a dog. He's pathetic. You should just run, flee. So they hurled insults at each other, pulled each other's hair. Then they fought with fists. And then Hanuman defeated the Rakshasa. So it's actually quite a long story. But then Hanuman brought Gandhamadana mountain on his head back. And one boy dressed as a doctor placed the Sanjeevani herb by Lord Nityananda's nose. And one boy said, remember Sri Ram. And then Lord Nityananda immediately stood up. And everyone was just overwhelmed, particularly his parents. Hadai Pandit ran to Nitai and embraced him. Everyone was in ecstasy. And the adults gathered around Nitai and said, son, where did you learn all this? And Lord Nityananda just smiled and said, these are all just my transcendental pastimes. So yeah, Lord Nityananda, in his own way, Lord Caitanya has his childhood pastimes, all different types of pastimes, as a child, as a youth. And of course we can discuss some of them when it gets closer to Gorpanima. But Lord Nityananda, he had his own pastimes, really amazing pastimes. And when you go to Ekachakra, then you can go to all those pastime places. I mean, not all of them, but where they did the Kaliya Damana Lila, that place is still there. Just outside, about 500 meters away from the village, is this kund where they did the Kaliya Damana Lila, the reeds they used in the drama. It's really, really wonderful. So, but then what happened was that when Lord Nityananda was 12, and which is about the time, plus or minus, when Lord Caitanya appeared in Navadvip, which is, well, it's a couple of hours drive at least from Ekachakra, at least 100 kilometers, more than 100 kilometers. So when he was 12, a traveling sannyasi came and stayed with Hadai Pandit and with the family, because Hadai Pandit was a leader amongst the Brahmin community in Ekachakra. So when respectable visitors would come, then oftentimes they'd be directed, go and stay at Hadai Pandit's place. So regularly there were guests, respectable, advanced devotees like that. So when Lord Nityananda was 12, one such devotee, a sannyasi, came and stayed for some days. And at the end, he's about to leave, and this traveling sannyasi asked Hadai Pandit, he said, I would like to ask one thing of you. Could you please help me with one thing? And Hadai Pandit, as is the way for hosts of guests, as is the way, he just agreed, yes, whatever you want, just tell me, it's yours, whatever. So the sannyasi said, I am not a young man, and I'm traveling around all the time. I need an assistant to travel with me. So please give me Nitai to travel with me. And of course, Hadai Oja and Padma. Oja is a traditional Brahmin family name. So Hadai, Oja, and Padmavati, of course, they're just devastated. It's impossible. We'll die. But they had already agreed. They couldn't take back the promise, break the promise. So they had to let Nitai go. And just as Nitai was the focal point of life in Ekachakra for everyone from the moment he appeared till that time through his childhood, and now he's in his very early youth. He was just the focal point of everyone's life. So when that sannyasi took Nitai, it was as if the life was taken out of Ekachakra. So when the villagers heard, then they all gathered and everyone was just completely overwhelmed in separation, and different devotees were offering to do different things. One devotee said that, let's find that sannyasi. He said, I have a son. He's a little older than Nitai. Nitai does not know how to cook, but my son knows how to cook. Let's find that sannyasi. He can take my son and we'll bring Nitai back. Because my son, he can do more to assist the sannyasi. And they are making different offers. We'll do this, we'll do that. But they couldn't find the sannyasi and Lord Nityananda. All that happened was that the sannyasi, just as he was leaving, he gave Padmavati a little deity, smallish, sort of like this size, a Krishna deity, and said, in the absence of Nityananda, you worship this deity. So that deity is still there in the Bankim Roy temple, the main temple. I mean, it's not the main temple now, but what was always the main temple in Ekachakra. Yeah, you been to Ekachakra? Oh, you haven't been? Let's go. Yeah, seriously. We can now. But yeah, that deity is there. It's just a deity of Krishna. Smallish deity. So, then Lord Nityananda went on long pilgrimage. First of all with the sannyasi, then he just went on his own. And in Caitanya Bhagavat, the Adi Leela, chapter 9, there's a whole detailed description of the pilgrimage of Lord Nityananda. He met Madhavendra Puri on pilgrimage, and when they met, they embraced. We have all embraced people pre-COVID, right? Pre-COVID? You embraced someone before, haven't you? You remember what it's like, yeah. So yeah, we've all embraced different people from time to time for a few seconds. Haribol, Haribol. They embraced for 3 days. This is a serious embrace. Yeah. So much affection. The length of embrace reflects the depth of emotion involved. the depth of affection. So anyway, he met Madhavendra Puri, and some say, it's not entirely clear, but some say he was initiated by Madhavendra Puri. It's possible. And eventually he ended up in Vrindavan. And he stayed there's one place near the Radha Damodar temple. He stayed there for some time, for quite some time. He stayed also at Radha Kund for some time, until Lord Caitanya started his Sankirtan pastimes. Lord Caitanya started his Sankirtan pastimes when he was just over 16. He was just over 16. So Lord Caitanya appeared just around the time Lord Nityananda started his pilgrimage. So Lord Nityananda was on pilgrimage around 16 years. But then, when Lord Caitanya started the Sankirtan movement, just after the passing of Jagannath Mishra, then Lord Nityananda returned from Vrindavan to Navadvip and joined Lord Caitanya, and they met in Navadvip at the house of Nandana Acharya just at that time. And you know what happened when they met? Wow, that is just completely, if you think the drama pastimes are amazing, when they met, that's just incredibly amazing. But if you want to know what happened when they met, come with us to Phoenix this evening and find out, and be prepared to be amazed. We should finish now, yeah? Should I tell you? Well, I'll tell you a little bit. One day, Lord Caitanya told the devotees in Navadvip that a great personality will come to Navadvip in a few days, within a few days. Then the next day, Lord Caitanya told the devotees, last night I had the most amazing dream. A chariot came and stood right in front of my door of my house. Means up by the birthplace. The chariot's flag had a palm leaf drawn on it. This chariot was so special, it was meant to carry a person from this temporary material existence to the absolute reality. That sort of chariot, yes. And the passenger on that chariot, Lord Caitanya said, was a colossal figure, like a giant. And he carried a plow on his large shoulders. He was moving about in a restless way. In his left hand, he had a kamandalu, a renunciate's water pot. He was wearing blue cloth on top, and his dhoti was blue also. And devotees, listen to this. A beautiful earring pierced his left ear lobe. So anyway, Hare Krishna. No further comment, but his whole appearance and demeanor made me think, this is Lord Balaram. Then 10 or 20 times he said to me, is this not Nimai Pandit's house? Isn't this Nimai Pandit's house? Is this Nimai Pandit's house? 10 or 20 times. And Lord Caitanya told the devotees, I have never seen such a formidable personality. Haribol. Maybe that's a sign. So, then Lord Caitanya said, I see you're a great personality. Who are you? And this great person replied, I am your brother. Tomorrow we shall get to know each other. So, you know what happened tomorrow? Find out tonight. Hare Krishna. Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ke. Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ke. Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ke. Haribol. Oh, okay. Okay, Hare Krishna. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu